I am pro-choice. I mean, you can pick Charmander, you can pick Pikachu, you can pick Squirtle, heck, you can even pick Bulbasaur, I don't judge. But whatever Pokemon you choose, you've got to live with that for the rest of the game. Nerd! On an entirely related note, so pro-choicers say that women have the right to choose to get an abortion or to choose not to get an abortion. That's what we keep hearing, right? But some of the arguments I've been hearing from the pro-choice side say women should make the choice, but men should be held accountable for that choice. These are some of the counter arguments people have been giving me as I've been making episodes on this show. So let's dive into this topic on Jake in a Box Podcast. So I've been yelled at for going weeks without making a new episode. Like, guys, come on, I'm a busy guy.
I'm busy, dreadfully busy. You've no idea what I have to do.
People are always asking me, well, then what's your next episode gonna be about? Like, guys, I literally don't know. I'm just winging it as I go. Like I said in the first episode, I'm just too busy even to plan farther ahead than the next episode. Topics that I want to cover in a couple different videos that I'll probably put out once a week, once a month, once a year. Depends on when I'm free. I have a wife and kids. No, I don't. I'm not busy. I don't know. Okay, so I don't have a wife, but I do have kids. I mean, not like kids, just kids. Like youth group kids. I mean, those youth group kids are basically my kids. I mean, I drive them around. I go to their games and concerts and plays and Bible quizzing tournaments. I kick their butts at Super Smash Bros. They always steal my hats. They make me buy Starbucks for them all the time. So, I'm basically their father.
No, I am your father.
Alright, so speaking of fathers, I've had lots of people respond to my videos. Some people agreeing and some people vehemently disagreeing. But where would all the fun be if everybody just agreed with me? So one topic that's been brought up to me is how involved a man should be in a woman's abortion. I figured, this is controversial enough. I'll take it.
We need a little controversy, cause it feels so empty without me.
Okay, so the first thing that was presented to me as a counter argument was this photo. So looking at the post on the bottom, it says, to be clear, the irony of all the abortion bills is the complete lack of male inclusion. Women do not magically become pregnant. There is a man attached to every single abortion. Why are men not being included in the jail time for abortion? So at first glance, this kind of makes sense. If politicians are going to create laws restricting abortions, and if those laws involve legal consequences for those who break that law, shouldn't men be punished just as much as women since they're involved in the whole pregnancy process? Aren't men guilty too then?
And not just the women, but the men too.
I think I screwed up that clip, but I'm not sure how. Okay, so here's the thing. Almost the whole pro-choice argument is about how it's a woman's right to choose. I mean, part of the argument too is that the fetus doesn't count as a person until after it travels 6 inches down the birth canal. I get that's part of the argument too. But some pro-choicers don't even argue that. They say it doesn't matter, it's still a woman's right to choose. It's their body, their choice. They get to decide whether or not to terminate the life of their unborn child because it's their body. They get to decide, not men, not politicians, not religion, not God, not aliens, no one.
Alien hunting! Alien hunting!
Shh, Patrick, don't let them know we're onto them.
Isn't that what we hear over and over again? It really wasn't hard to find a couple examples of politicians saying this.
Women have been given the responsibility to perpetuate the human species. Our bodies were created to do that. And it does not give any other person the right to tell a woman what to do with that body. It is her body, it is her right, it is her decision.
That women have a constitutional right to make these most intimate and personal and difficult decisions.
I think the dialogue has got so caught up on where you draw the line that we've gotten away from the fundamental question of who gets to draw the line. And I trust women to draw the line when it's their own life.
And protecting the right of a woman to be able to make decisions about her own body is fundamentally what we do and what we stand for as a Democratic Party.
We got to start eating babies. We don't have enough time. There's too much CO2.
Sorry, no idea how that last one got in there. But that is real, though. That really happened at a Democratic town hall with AOC. Okay, eating babies aside, it seems pretty clear that the main argument for abortion is that it's a woman's right to choose, and a man should not infringe on a woman's right to make that choice. It's a woman's right. So if there are consequences for having an abortion in certain cases, shouldn't that fall entirely on the one making the decision? Meaning the woman, not the man? Now, obviously in cases of rape or otherwise non-consensual sex, that's totally different. I'm talking about couples who have consensual sex, and then the woman made her own decision to have an abortion. Even if the father doesn't want the abortion, the mother's still supposed to be allowed to get it. It's supposed to be 100% her decision. Her body, her choice, her life.
It's my life, it's now or never.
So as an example, let's say you have a state where it's illegal to get an abortion in the 3rd trimester. And let's say there were some consequences, whether that be a fine or jail time or whatever. I totally get there might be disagreements on whether or not women should be punished for this, but let's just say that's what the law was, as they were talking about in that post we saw. So in this case, in this state, if a woman gets pregnant during a consensual relationship she has with a man, and then she decides to have an abortion in the 3rd trimester for whatever reason, despite the fact that the father doesn't want her to get it, my question is, why should the man be punished? The whole argument is it's her choice, it's her body, right? Now, I understand, he was involved in the pregnancy. Believe it or not, I know how this works. But just because he was involved in the pregnancy doesn't mean he was involved in the abortion. Her getting pregnant wasn't the illegal thing, the abortion was. And again, the left has been saying forever that a man has nothing to do with it and it's her choice.
It is her body, it is her right, it is her decision.
So apparently he's not allowed to be involved in the abortion when it's happening, but if she gets the illegal abortion anyways, he should be held accountable. Because women's rights.
I find that answer vague and unconvincing.
Like, random dumb example. Let's say a couple bought a car together. Let's say they paid exactly the same amount for that car. They both drive it around, they both take care of it. They are both fully involved in the process of buying and taking care of and using the car. Now, let's say the man here took that car, didn't tell the woman, and decided to go run over his neighbor because, I don't know, he just hated him for some reason. That's not the point. But he took the car and he ran over his neighbor. Now, are you telling me the woman should be held accountable because she helped buy the car and she has used the car before? I mean, they own it and drive it together. Therefore, any action either of them takes involving that car, they're both accountable for it, right? I mean, no, that's dumb. That makes about as much sense as wumbo.
Wumbology? The study of wumbo? It's 1st grade, SpongeBob.
Like, who cares how the car was bought? Who cares who has driven the car in the past? The illegal action had nothing to do with who bought the car or who has driven the car in the past. The illegal action was running over your neighbor. It was all about who did the illegal thing. And in this made-up scenario, the woman had nothing to do with it. So why would she get punished? Like, I know it's not a perfect analogy, but it's kind of the same thing with abortion. If there was a case where it was illegal and there were legal consequences for it, and the woman 100% made that choice on her own, why should the father have to suffer the consequences of her choice, not his choice? Yes, I understand he was involved in starting the pregnancy, but he wasn't involved in the abortion. The pregnancy part wasn't illegal, the abortion was. This is what I've been hearing. And frankly, I just think the whole argument is kind of crazy.
Are you crazy? Or just plain stupid?
Stupid as stupid does, Mrs. Blue.
I guess.
Okay, along that same vein, what about the opposite? Again, part of the pro-choice argument is that if the mother wants to get an abortion but the father doesn't, the mother's choice wins over and she's allowed to get that abortion. But what if it's the father who wants her to get the abortion but the mother doesn't want to get the abortion? Presumably, the woman's right to choose would again win over here and she wouldn't have to get that abortion, right? That seems pretty consistent to me. Wouldn't all you sophisticated radical feminists out there agree?
Now, a more sophisticated radical feminist.
Okay, so then that kind of begs the question of child support. If it's the mother's choice to give birth to that child, then should the father have to pay child support? And you know the number of fathers who have to pay child support for a child they didn't even want?
It's high. Let's get going. It's very high.
So according to Very Well Family, about $34 billion, with a B, billion dollars is owed each year in child support among divorced and unmarried couples. That comes out to about $5,800 a year, or about $500 a month, for individuals who owe that child support. A large majority of those receiving child support are the mothers, because a larger number of fathers are required to pay than are mothers. Which, in the cases where it was her choice and he didn't want the child, is that really fair?
Life's not fair.
But yeah, if it was her choice, then why should he have to pay for her choice? So since it was the woman's body and her right to choose, then the father should have to pay, right?
Wait a minute, no.
But it's supposed to be her body, her choice. If the father wants to get an abortion, but the mother wants to go ahead and give birth to that child, then that child was born because of the mother's choice, not the father's choice. So again, I don't understand why the left feels like men should suffer the consequences when men have absolutely no say and no choice in the matter. It's supposed to be all about the women. You see what I'm saying?
Huh? Do you?
Okay, so to be totally clear, I'm not saying that men shouldn't be involved. In fact, I'm saying they should be more involved. But so long as we have this culture of it's my body, it's my choice for all women, then to be consistent, you have to say that the consequences of those choices have to also fall on women. If men can't make the choice either way, it's not fair to have them suffer the consequences of somebody else's choice. So you have to decide, either men are involved or they aren't. Either the woman makes the choice, or at the very least, they both make the choice. You can't just cherry pick what times you want men to be involved just based on when it's convenient. Like, you can't do that.
She can't do that. Shoot her or something.
Obviously, nothing I've addressed in this video has anything to do with whether or not abortion should be legal or not, or whether or not women should be punished when it's illegal. Like, that wasn't my point. My main point is that this whole women's choice thing isn't always consistent. So if you're going to be pro-choice, at the very least, just be consistent. But that's all I got for today, folks.
Well, that's all, folks. Hey, that's my line.
So remember, you can email me at jakeintheboxpodcast@gmail.com. I love the comments and feedback from stuff like this, especially from those of you who disagree with me, because I like hearing both sides. I've got lots more feedback to respond to in future episodes, but for now I've got to run. I've actually got some of my youth group kids to go pick up. So thanks for watching Jake in a Box Podcast. Hey, hope you liked the show on Jake in a Box Podcast. If you liked this episode, make sure you click the subscribe button below so that you never miss another video of Jake in a Box Podcasts.